What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of Raynday Gaming. Today, we're talking more gaming news like we do on the channel lately. So if you like gaming news and knowing what's current, what is getting all your favorite streamers riled up, or what is trending amongst topics, then this is the best place to subscribe and keep it locked. We also do a lot of gameplays focusing on Apex Legends and other popular kind of shooter games right now. We'll see what ends up happening. But today, I had to make this video. Apex is a new Halloween event. Shout out to that. It's fun. I did a stream on it. But today, the creative director for Google Stadia has said one of the most inciting comments and one of the most ridiculous comments I have actually heard a developer at a high-ranking position make in a long time. And we're going to unpack it here because not only has he responded and then had a crazy level of response, I'm talking ratioed, people at Google higher than him have also responded, as well as big name streamers all around the world about these two tweets. So let's unpack what he said here because he's really said something quite interesting. Streamers are worried about their content getting pulled because they used music they didn't pay for. Should be more worried about the fact that they're streaming games they didn't pay for as well. It's all gone as soon as publishers decide to enforce it. Now, let's remember this. The context of this conversation is because Twitch is DMCAing, which is striking basically channels who are partners of theirs who have been having streams of unlicensed music. And if you don't know this, pretty much all music is unlicensed unless you specifically get an unlicensed track like I got here. That's why you hear the same song all the time in my videos, because I know no one can ever claim my video because it's not an Ariana Grande song. Like any commercial, like anything you act in or write or song you make, every time it's played somewhere, you deserve a royalty. And on Twitch, where people were making money and getting paid money, they were not getting royalties, they weren't tracking it, and now they're getting copyright strikes. So this tweet comes off of, again, Alex Hutchinson. He is the creative director at Google Stadia, and he's making this tweet in response, which is already a bit callous because the issue is that, listen, if I knew I was going to get copyright struck, I understand I probably wouldn't have done it. Because it was accepted at the time, now it's coming back to haunt me. It's a little bit harsh for some of these creators who have purposely said, okay, I'm not doing it anymore. I understand this is what you're going to do. It's a little bit of like, oh, this reckoning isn't like serving a purpose because I'm not doing it anymore. I understand the issue. And now because of my past, I'm getting kind of haunted in this present moment. So already a little bit callous there. But then he goes on to say this. The real truth is not only should gamers be worried about games saying you cannot actually license their games and make money off it when you play it, but that they should be paying the developers to play the games and use the content. I should go to Apex and say, hey, can I buy the license to use your game for $1,000 so I can hopefully one day make money off it on my YouTube channel, my little YouTube channel I'm starting. That's what they think gamers should do if they want to start streaming or YouTube at any level. Which is like, what? So as you can understand, this brings up a couple of interesting conversations, but the replies get even crazier. Now, here's the truth about what he's saying. Games are technically able to remove your content if they don't like what you're doing. This has happened in previous games and actually games that I've worked on. I actually had a huge interaction with someone who quoted this at me, but they were false because the games I had played, Smite and Paladins at that time, actually had a statement saying that you have licensing to make YouTube videos and streams on our game. We think there's a symbiotic relationship between creators and between the publishers. And when you succeed, we succeed, and our game becomes more popular. So please stream and play our games. Now, companies who don't have that in a written agreement, technically, you are licensing their content and making money from it. And they could say, if they don't like you, if you are a negative streamer, if someone comes in and makes all these racist words, they could say, take that down. That's our game. We never licensed that you could do that. But most companies don't do it. Why? It's obvious. Gamers make companies tons and tons of money. Millions and millions of dollars just by playing their games and exposing it. Two huge examples, which are going to be mentioned here. One, Dakota says you're going to regret this tweet. And underneath him, somebody mentions that Fortnite streamers buying skins and the battle pass actually encouraged him to do that. Let me give you a quick example from my experience. There was a huge rogue company initiative about getting skins or buying the game and that pack. That pack was about $60. Now, in the Epic Game Store, if you're a creator, they were doing a special, and you essentially made 15% of whatever people using your code bought in terms of packs. And over the course of that week, I think I made one video, I had $600 come in from that one promotion, which means that that video drove thousands and thousands of dollars of revenue that would not have been there potentially had that people not seen that video, decided to use my code because they liked it and liked what they saw. And that is the relationship that gamers and publishers count on. When PewDiePie plays your game, when Markiplier plays your game, when Shroud plays your game, and it becomes a thing, more people play it, more people download it, it becomes more top of mind, and more sales eventually happen. And that is the way that the gaming industry works. That's why people get paid millions of dollars to stream games. Now, what was interesting not only about the replies and how this ended up working is they continued to have more conversations about this, and he continued to buckle down. The artist gets paid each time you play the song on a streaming service. That's the point. Again, this is how music works, and he's trying to apply that strictly to gaming. But even people like Hollow, big YouTuber, this is the worst tweet I've seen in a while. I buy the game, I have license to share it, free promotions too, whether I get 1 view or 1 million, simple. Please stop trying to stir the pot. Now, he's not necessarily correct that he has a license to share the game, but he has a license to share it, not necessarily make money. And that's the point. But the bigger issue is that this guy is really having a conversation that's saying that the way it should be working is the other way around. You guys don't realize how lucky you are. And he's really being tone deaf to the fact that a lot of streamers and video gamers and YouTubers bring business in that wouldn't have been there. Let's look at, for example, a game like Among Us, which has 200,000 and over 200,000 concurrent players right now. And that means that game, which was 2 years old, about to go into a sequel and basically the game be abandoned to make a new game that hopefully could blow up because streamers started playing it and now it became viral on YouTube. Now is a successful game that is making tons and tons of money. Look at a game like Fall Guys, which because of its social media presence, because of the interaction between Tim the Tap Man, which was totally paid for, and because of the way people were playing it and streaming it and was becoming this huge thing, became an indie game that became one of the biggest games of the year. Do you think Devolver would say, oh man, I wish, Tim, you should pay me, and then you can go ahead and have these hundreds of millions of views that you've delivered our game to people who never would have seen it before, then you can go ahead and make those videos? Are you kidding me? They're like, dude, make as many videos as you want. And it's gotten even worse. What ended up happening was Mr. Beast came in and ratioed him. Dan TDM, a huge multi-million subscriber YouTuber, basically came in and ratioed. Everyone's ratioing this guy, which is getting more likes on a response than the original tweet itself. The amount of exposure streamers and YouTubers give to games just by playing them is worth major money itself. Some games only market through influencers now because of how strong it works. The Carlos R., the president of G2 Esports, says, Alex, the reason why your reasoning is flawed is because it ignores the freedom of choice created by the free market. It's not like there is a hidden rule that keeps publishers away from doing what you suggest. They don't do it because it doesn't make sense business-wise. Obviously, that is what is so hard. But what is worse about this is that even people who know him, because this is a guy who works at Google. I love Google. I love YouTube gaming. I have people who probably know this guy. He says, this is a terrible take for many reasons, and you need to educate yourself. This is Boogie, who's a very big, obviously, creator on YouTube as well. Pokimane said, reply tweet just to further ratio you, laugh my ass off, because it has gotten people very, very upset. And he went back to say that most of the time, playing the game just helps the streamer. People tune in to watch their show, which is built on content they didn't pay for. If their show requires game content, then a percentage of their revenue should go to the game they used. Which is like saying that because Ninja's playing Valorant, that's the only reason people are watching Ninja. That's the only reason you're getting big, is because of the game that you're playing. I think that's also faulty logic as a gamer who's played different games and had different audiences across different games. It isn't the individual game, which is the reason why I've been successful. Because it's happened again and again and again. I think a lot of creators take offense to that idea. Like, what do you mean? People aren't showing up here for me? You think I could just have the game footage, say nothing, and just play the game? I don't have to edit, I don't have to make thumbnails, I don't have to do anything, and then people are suddenly just gonna, that'll get 1 million views as well? Like, come on. I'm bringing value because I am someone people respect, and that's what other gamers are saying. People like me, and they like my content, and I'm exposing something that could be valuable. I don't know. Seems like a weird take. Let's go on more into these comments because they get even crazier. They're paying in exposure, which reminds me, I need you to come to my office next week. We'll do some work for free. It'll great on a CV, I promise. Come on, Will. Now, here's the idea. He's getting so many conversations here, right? With the sassy tone. It's like, hey, let me do some work for free. It'll look great on, your resume. And essentially, it honestly is not about that. It's because the fact is, when you pay for free and you're having someone do this for free, I'm not paying you. You know that because that guy, even if he has an audience of 500, and they've done studies about this, where even intermediate creators, not the huge ones, not the super small ones, but the ones with maybe 10,000 subs, or the ones who have that smaller but really connected audience, they could drive more sales just by playing a game and encouraging people to use it and play it and check it out than some of even the major streamers. Because of, hey, I'm just watching that. It's Ninja's on. Let me just see what Ninja's playing. I'm not really connected to the game. I mean, I think this becomes such a ridiculous point, and I'm almost just surprised that this guy is really in a position to be the creative director of Google Stadia, believing this. And one of the biggest reasons about it, and to get to the final part of what happened with somebody who is at YouTube Gaming, who is pushing Stadia, but unfortunately this doesn't look good for their brand, came out and said something completely different. And this is Ryan. Now, Ryan, he is pretty much the big dog, coming in. Why don't I remember his last name? Come on, man. Ryan Fwiz, right? Ryan Wyatt. He's 363,000. He's the leading gaming, commerce, and immersive head at YouTube. He's on the board of directors of Gamers Outreach. And he just mentioned this. This is all he said. He didn't respond to it. It was a classy response. He said, "We believe that publishers and creators have a wonderful symbiotic relationship that has allowed a thriving ecosystem to be created. One that has mutually benefited everyone. Games benefit from creators benefit from games. A Fortnite Battle Pass that encourage you to buy, but if you buy, you support your favorite streamer, is potentially a million views of someone encouraging someone to buy that Battle Pass because they get a cut of it, versus, who cares? I won't talk about the Battle Pass. I'll just play some games and no one will even know it's a new Battle Pass this season because I'm just going to play a 20 kill game and that's all I'm going to talk about." That could represent hundreds of thousands of dollars for both parties. So of course you want someone to be incentivized. YouTube is focused on creating value for creators, publishers, and users. All ships rise when we work together, and the responses to this have always been great. We got Arnold. He is the big dog, COO of Gen G, my org as well. He says, "Great answer." He says, "Another common W from Courage after the craziness I saw on my timeline. Always classy." Mr. Beast comes in. We stand. Everyone's happy about this. Hollow, Dakotas, everyone who responded to that earlier one, because that is really the truth. And one of the biggest things that this shows me is that Google Stadia has had trouble finding legs. And I believe that part of it is that how often are you seeing Google Stadia connecting with creators in an innovative and exciting way? When you see the way the gaming industry has built itself, it's built itself to skyrocket, because as you incentivize people to work harder for you because they get something out of it, then they have an initiative that is their own self-freedom and benefit and financial growth to showcase what you're doing at the highest level, and you are giving them a reason to make you the showcase. I think games that give more to streamers and that expose more streamers and that give more are going to get more back and get more loyal content around their game, get more higher quality content, and ultimately Ryan shows us exactly where we need to be. Unbelievable comments there. And one of the most ironic aspects to this whole thing, which I found just amazing, is when you go back to his replies, what he then goes to say is that anyway, gonna hop online and stream some Fall Guys. The guy who says you should have a license to stream content before you stream it, you should pay them off the literal game that became big because streamers didn't pay them to just play it and it blew that game up, is now doing exactly what he says you shouldn't do. And the comments are just ironic considering Fall Guys' success was solely built off streamers. He's going to try to stream Among Us next too as well. I hope you bought a special streamer license to play and stream it. And we all know what he means by that, right? But then he goes, I love steamers, because he misspelled Steam. I mean, just to me, this is an example of how not to behave on social media if you want to be liked by a community. Not only to insult them, but not provide good context for your reasoning, not listen to anyone else and just respond with snarky comments. Honestly, Alex is probably a good guy. I have nothing against him personally, but I definitely do not agree with this interaction and this take, and I need to know what you guys think as well. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. All I can say is that I'm happy that this hopefully is put to bed, but I'm sure a lot of your creators and people you know will be talking about this later. So leave a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to stay tuned for more news and things that are following along with this crazy news. And of course, stay tuned to Raynday Gaming by hitting that notification bell. All right, guys, comment down below what you think about it. I'm really curious to hear your thoughts. As always, never give up, never stop gaming. See y'all next time.